Solid.
Hey, man.
What is that?
Oh, this is a new prototype I'm working on. It is the ultimate specimen of epic rants. Hold on, let me turn it on real quick.
What the heck?
Yeah, that's not supposed to happen. Let me try again.
Brothers, sisters, friends of the Forge, you have all traveled vast, far and wide. You have stumbled into this humble domain, and you have been deemed worthy, my friends. You are worthy to take the oath of the Forge. So to you, my dear friends, we give you your official oath-taking ceremony, guys. Light this freaking place on fire. Let's go. May you take up your hammer with strength, with honor, with loyalty, and until the day of Ragnarok, forge your destiny into reality. By the powers vested in me and all of the witnesses here, I dub you wielders of the hammer.
Hey guys, welcome to the Colon with the Boys podcast. We are your hosts, Asen and Nathan, and this is episode 29, titled Forge Your Destiny. Today we are joined by the powerful VanderForge, where we discuss Pokemon, Twitch affiliates and partners, and sobriety. So sit back, relax, and raise your hammers.
Yeah. I just wanna crack that door with that boys, yeah.
No more baby mamas, no more kids to watch, cause I got babysitters. Now it's time for licking, come on, give it to me, cause it's my escape. Now it's time to annihilate, let my troubles all die away. I'm on a diet, Please do not try this, cause do not invite it. I'm dripping in go call the Midas. This night I was excited, it got me reignited. I've been waiting so long I can't fight it, but now I'm Mike Tyson inside, I'm on fire. It ain't nothing like a true bro. Brotherhood worth more than
I usually have a whiskey or something while we're doing the podcast, but I decided to.
Bust that ass, dude.
Dude, you know what? Yeah, get over it. So with you, Vander, you actually told me you're 10 years sober. Is that right?
That is correct, sir.
That's awesome. Like, is there? I mean, I don't want to get into like too personal or anything, but like what?
No, I'm happy to talk about that. I'm happy to talk about that. As far as my background goes, prior to me being a Twitch caster, I was a death metal musician. I was the frontman for a group called Of Hatred, and we functioned together for 3 years, writing material, touring, playing shows. I've opened up for big names such as Guar and Dimmu Borgir before, and we had some fun time doing that in the local area. But I grew up under the household of my dad being a big ass fucking metalhead and listening to Ozzy Osbourne, King Diamond, fucking, all those major groups like that in my life. I grew up naturally a metalhead, and, being in high school, your average high schooler that's into heavy metal has that dream, has the rock star dream, your cookie cutter, drink, party, do drugs, play fucking rock and roll, live life hard, and just kick people in the face all the time and just live to the nth extreme. And I wanted that. I wanted to live that style. Well, fate had a different story for me in that time, and some events actually took place that led me to a very, very solid, conscious decision that I wanted to make in my life, because my old man had an alcohol problem, and I was 21 years old. He was 40, and he had been a major alcoholic for many, many years. Drank himself to sleep one night, never woke up. So that event in my life was incredibly tragic, and it was like a bus fucking hit me. Like right, just point blank at like 90 miles an hour. And then at the tail end of my metal career, I was with a woman, and I got her pregnant. And in that time of her 9 months of being pregnant, I was still being just fucking stupid, doing whatever I wanted. And I was drunk in a bar one night. I got the phone call. She went into labor. She didn't want me to be there, but her mom and dad believed that something would happen that night that would change the course of events for the shit that I was doing. My brother, bless his soul, came and picked me up in his truck, brought me back to the house, slapped me around a couple times, told my ass to get in the shower, brought me to the hospital. That woman was in fucking labor for 21 hours. 17 of it I slept. 17 of it I slept in a hospital, one of those hospital stiff ass benches. But like I was drunk as fuck. So I was feeling how uncomfortable. No, dude, I was fucking out, man. I was out like a light. I woke up to the sound of my son being born. I heard his cries. That's what woke me up. Zion, or the mother to the girl that I was dating comes out into the waiting room, says the child has been born. I was brought in. I held my son for the first time. I looked into his eyes, and it was just an instantaneous moment for me. I was just like, I don't want to put my son through what my father put us through. I don't want him to see that. I don't want him to grow up with that kind of example. And so I walked out of the hospital and I said, I'm not going to fucking touch another drink ever again.
Well, now that got super fucking deep, and I feel terrible for drinking a beer while we're doing this podcast.
Make no mistake. Bro, I'm one of those people that's just like, people have their limits, and it goes into what I do on the daily basis. I take things to the extreme, and if they're not extreme, I find a way to take it to the next extreme. That's just who I am as an individual. That's how I'm ingrained. People can handle having alcohol. I couldn't, because not only was I flirting with the woman that I was with, but I was flirting with all the women that you guys were with too, and probably was going to get fucking dead. Just wrap your mind around that one.
Oh, shit.
Well, Nathan, you should feel bad.
Boys, I'm saving you guys a fist fight with me. It's all I'm doing, man. You don't got to come at me.
Where do you live?
That's awesome, man.
But make sure I don't go there.
Good. Now, born and raised Central Wisconsin, man.
Okay, nice.
Oh yeah, yeah. There's nothing like a kid to trigger some sobriety. Like, that's for sure. I mean, I've never been like, other than maybe a few years in college, I was never like this huge drinker, and I'm not a huge drinker now. I just like to, have a drink here or there during a podcast. But I mean, it's because of stuff like that.
Don't let my story deter you, boys.
Oh no! I'm just being honest, man. It's never been a big thing for me. I just enjoy it here and there. But I completely understand, change of life with a kid. You get rid of all those bad. All the bad juju in your life needs to.
Well, you would hope so. There's some people that don't.
Exactly. But that's part of being a good dad. So,
I guess.
Well, at the end of the day, it was a decision. And that's what a lot of people I find in my position that, were in the same situation that I was, the rock star, the rock, we'll call it the rock star mentality for conversations. People that were in that mind frame, most of them don't realize is that there is a conscious decision to choose to be a father. Either you are a father or you are not a father. There is no middle ground when it comes to raising a child in this world, because if you choose that middle ground, ultimately you're choosing no, that you don't want to be involved in this kid's life. And that's not something I was willing to put my own kid through.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I understand you. Excuse me. Like, I've been married for 5 years, almost 6 years. And it's literally almost every week we get somebody asking us, when are you having kids? When are you going to give us a grandkid? When are you going to have cousins, huh? And I don't know. Like, I think what it is for me is I've come to the fact where I value my time so much. And I'm very... what's the word I'm looking for without sounding like a douche? I'm very protective of my time. Like, I enjoy, my schedule now, and, more, I'm happy for everybody that has kids. Like, if you guys can hack it. But like, I'm jealous, and I feel like if I had a kid, like, I'm scared that I would become jealous of my kid for taking my time away. And God, that makes me sound like a douche. But like I don't think we're gonna do the whole kid thing. And everybody tells me, they're like, oh, you're gonna regret it, and you won't feel that way once you have a kid. And maybe that's true. I don't know, but I think I'm scared of being a parent. Maybe is what it is when it comes down to it.
I've known you for a long time, Nathan. I think you'd make a great dad, and I think you'd be like really protective and really like you would want to spend time with the kid. It's not that you'd be jealous of it taking your time. You would just want to go do that instead of hanging out or doing, gaming or whatever. So, I mean,
what if I turn out to be that douche though, then you'd fucking hate me.
But I mean, people make it work. Like Vander here, he has a kid and he's still streaming, what is it? 6 nights a week? Pretty much. Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, people can make it work. But I mean, it's just if you want to give up that time. I don't know if that makes you sound douchey or not. I don't really think it does. It's just, if you have a kid, make sure and give it the time. So
yeah.
I don't know.
Oh, Discord, leave me alone.
But
leave me alone. Don't activate. Get the fuck away from me. Here, I'll just Discord. I just realized I don't even need to be there. Let's get out. All right, cool.
So we always ask every guest that we get on here, because it's just really interesting to our listeners and to everyone that listens, is just the origin of the name. Yep. So how did you come up with VanderForge?
The origin of the name comes from the first part of it. Vander is actually a cutoff of my original username, which I have used in the gaming world for some time. Everybody has an online persona that they've known, for many, many years. The origin Vander comes from the name Vanderoth, which is actually in my high school years, I was involved with a LARPing community, a live action role playing community called Amp Guard, and I was a full contact sport. It looks goofy on the long run, but beating the shit out of people with fucking stuff, fun as hell. I'm just gonna say that right now, but I had to come up with a persona at that point in time to role play this character, and I came up with the name Vanderoth on the spot, and that's Vanderoth is always something that I've just carried with me throughout the years, and I was originally going to use that name for my Twitch account, but my dumbass created the username and forgot the fucking password, and so I was just like, oh no. There goes that. So I was like, all right, so the other half of it comes from the first attempted failure into actually doing anything in the social media world as far as, I guess we'll call it Pokemon content creation. I was in a very, very dark time in my life. I was looking out to different mediums, reaching out to different communities and stuff to try and find people. Because I'm like, here's this weird-ass fucking dude who's got all these aspects about him, but he can't find a Pokemon community to hang out to save his life in real life. Because let's face it, there's some people out there that are my age that are afraid to admit they enjoy fucking Pokemon. I'm like, dude, I give a fuck what anybody thinks. I'm going to enjoy the shit that I want to enjoy. So I started reaching out to things like Facebook and things like that, and that's where we came up with the Facebook group called the VanderForge, and that's where the coin phrase "Forge Your Destiny into Reality" was first created. Right there, which is the coin phrase that I use on all of my content currently. That's stuck out with me. I invited some friends in. We invited a group of people in. We decided to make this Facebook community, and it flopped hard. It turned into a hot fucking dumpster fire of
You're talking about YouTube?
Nobody was there to take charge. There was no structure. We were all blaming each other for the dumbest, stupid stuff. There was no leadership was the problem. And so, but the core of us that were on the admin staff decided that we would still remain friends and we would still have this active Facebook group chat, which is like, where we all communicated with each other, right? To just hang out with each other. Well, time went by, still kind of in a funky place in my head, wanted to do something other than just, I don't know. I was looking for something to just help me out and to put me in a better mental state. And I came across Twitch. And I came across several people that inspired me to do the things I do. The main one being a guy by the name of Mr. Talent. Drew is a good friend of mine now. And he essentially he showed me in a social media aspect that, you know, I could be the person who I was in this world and I didn't have to give a flying fuck about what anybody thought about me. I could be zany and crazy, and this was an open platform to do it. And so I was like, okay, we're going to do this. What are we going to call it? And I wanted to take the legacy from the failed Facebook group and the original username that I had carried for a couple of years. So I literally took the two of them together. I put them together in the neatest fashion, what ended up being the VanderForge, and here I am today.
It's a badass name. Like, as soon as Ascend was like, hey, we got this guy coming on, his name's VanderForge, go check him out, I was like, dope, I like the name. It sounds fucking... Well, I didn't say it sounds metal as fuck because I didn't know you were hard into metal, but as soon as I pulled up your stream, I was like, this is fucking metal right here. It was dope.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
It was very kind of you to say. Very, very kind of you to say.
It was pretty
You go
sick.
there and there's like a Nordic guy ranting and you're just like, you just want to put like the horns up in the air, dude. Like,
yeah. Well, like I don't think I've ever been to another stream other than maybe one other. Well, his metal's not that hard. Like, I come into the stream and I start hearing some like fucking drop D shit, and I'm like, hell yeah, here we go. That's what I'm talking about. I could get behind this guy. So
not a lot of people in the Pokemon directory that play heavy metal. That's one of the niches that I'm is it like you when people go into a channel and a streamer starts talking about the name VanderForge, they're like, oh, that's that guy that makes fucking ears bleed and plays heavy metal 24/7. And then they're like, yeah, that's him. That's him right there.
Yeah, but
see that.
Going back to unpacking what you said a little bit, I think this is why you have so many viewers and followers and people that like you, Vander, is the fact that you don't give a fuck. Like, that's the biggest thing about you, where you'll immediately know that as soon as you go to your stream. Within 30 minutes, I mean, you have that don't give a fuck attitude, and that's what people love. That's what people love to come watch you for. At least that's what I do, and I'm guessing that that's the kind of community you've kind of built around yourself. Would you agree with that, or?
I would agree with it to an extent, but like, you know, obviously I'm human. I have emotions. I do, you know, feel on specific situations. And if it's something that, you know, I feel that needs to be recognized where I actually should give a fuck, like some of the stuff we are going to talk about tonight, I will up and say something, you know, regardless of what other people think, because I think there's things out there that people simply need to be heard.
Yeah.
Like, you know, there's things out there that need to be discussed and need to be heard and need to have healthy discussion around, you know, where I carry that. I don't give a flying fuck what people are going to say or think of me when I do these things. I'm still going to talk about them in a polite manner, and I'm still going to be objective and recognize specific things in the context, because I feel that being objective is being it's crucial in having good, healthy conversation when you're trying to get a point across to somebody. You can't just be like walking in and saying, yo, fuck you guys. I don't give a flying fuck what you think. Get the hell out of my face. I'm going to say my shit and y'all can just fuck that. That's not how you treat a human being. It's just not.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I meant more so, is like, you don't give a fuck about what people think of you. So you will say whatever's on your mind. And, and people appreciate that. Like, I appreciate honesty. And I mean, your stream is a big ball of honesty. Like, seriously, you're just sitting there ranting. And like, I've gone to your stream.
We broadcast ourselves 24/7, man. I mean, like, the people in my position, I stream 42 hours a week.
Right.
That's full time. That's full time work there. I am online in front of social media a lot, and people call out bullshit when they see it. It's as simple as that, you know. So,
for sure. And I mean, you know, every time I've been to your stream, you know, you sit there, you have the camera on you, and you are talking to the man. You're like a news network almost for streamers. It's awesome. I love it. It's, you know, you go in there, you see like a metal Nordic looking dude, and he's just, you know, telling you how it is. And it's just, like Nathan said, it's metal as fuck, which is awesome.
But like, it's not just metal as fuck. Like, I know this past weekend you guys ran like a 3-day little marathon type thing to raise money for somebody in your community that lost a loved one.
Yes,
and
correct.
And like
a member of our community, her name was Minty Marcy. I sympathize with this obviously because I told you I lost my dad early on. She lost her dad a week ago, and she was living with her mom and dad at the time. And her and her mom, Faye, actually fell on hard times. And I've done this for other people before in the past. I feel like, it's especially considering that she's on my stream team that I run. I run a 30-plus person stream team called the Guardians of Asgard, to kick in more of the Nordic theme for you guys. But she's on the Guardians of Asgard. And I was just, there comes a time, where you have to sit and you have to acknowledge the place and the position that you're blessed with and the community that you have around you. And you have to acknowledge that. And in this case, a lot of people, they were throwing praises left and right and saying how much it was a wonderful thing doing. And I know you probably heard me say this once or twice or 60 million times throughout the weekend, but I only did something that I knew that somebody would do for me in that situation or has already done. I am simply an acknowledgement of the community that has put me in this position. I recognize where I've come from, how I've gotten there, and where I'm going and why I'm going there. I have those constantly in the back of my head. And then that's what drives me to be like, you know what, we're going to reach out for a few days. And we're going to help out somebody in need, because that's just, in that case, it's the right thing to do. And it was beautiful. Yeah. We raised almost $2,000 for her throughout the 3 days.
That's fucking awesome.
Yeah, that's fucking awesome, man. And like, I know you're being really humble, and I get that, but you deserve credit as well, because you're kind of the mouthpiece for the whole thing and helping raise it. And so you definitely deserve credit there as well. So I'm sure your community appreciates it, and that's awesome. I mean,
the community, they came out in full force, man. They came out in full force this weekend. It was a blessing to see what happens when a community comes together for a cause, for a greater good.
Exactly.
And just supports one person who is literally experiencing one of the most life-changing events in their life at that point in time. That shit is not easy to deal with.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, I don't want to, toot my own horn, but like when I came in to check you out for your stream, whenever Asen told me, you were coming on the podcast, I hopped in there that night. I think it was the first night that it started. And I actually came in on the conversation where people were, giving you praise and, saying how good of a thing you were doing. And I came in at the point where you're like, you know what? I appreciate what you guys are saying. But I'm not doing anything right now that somebody hasn't done for me or wouldn't do for me in the future. And, that's why I'm doing it. And I was like, fuck. I was like, I don't even know these people, but what you said rang with me, because, there's been multiple times in my life where, I've needed help, and my friends and my family were always right there. And, I'm blessed to a point to where, I try and do my best to bless other people. And I was like, you know what? I got to help this person out, because just the fact of what you said. And so that makes a huge difference in a community when you have somebody that's at the top of the community that can, pass down that wisdom to the people below. Like, hey, look, I'm not doing anything other than what somebody has already done for me, or I know that would do for me in the future. So, like, you may be hardcore and badass, but you also have that human side to you, and I think that's an awesome thing. You don't see that very often.
Well, I'll tell you right now, if you talk to some of my close friends, they'll tell you just how much of a softy and fucking wuss I am. So, like, straight up, they will come up and be like, Vander, hardcore? He can fuck himself. He's a teddy bear.
That's fucking awesome, though. I like it.
It's all in good fun, though, dude. I enjoy it. I enjoy it a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. Another thing I noticed recently, I think it was probably like 4 days ago, you had your 2-year Twitch anniversary, and I wanted to congratulate you on that. That's a good milestone.
Thank you. Thank you very much, awesome, man. Appreciate that.
And man, I was there right when you started that stream, and for the first like hour, you just spent all that time, thanking everyone in the community, and it was just really cool to see. Like, I mean, a lot of streamers do thank their community, but just the response of your community with, like, probably every 5 seconds there's someone saying like, oh, Vander hug or whatever, trying to hug you through the internet. But it was just awesome to see. And then, you went into your game at that point. But I really love the rants. Like, I can't say that enough. Like, for all the listeners out there, you need to go to Vander's page just to hear him rant. And then, you can judge good, from there, but
good information too. Like, he spills it out.
Yeah. They call me the Papa Bear of Pokemon. That is a name that is stuck with me because it's just like, I kid you not, somebody will bring up something into the channel, and I'm one of those people that I'm very, very passionate. I'm passionate about what I do on Twitch. I'm passionate about my friends. I'm passionate about my relationships. And I'm passionate about specific subjects. And when somebody says something that resonates with me, it literally is just like, it comes to a boiling point where I just can't help but open my mouth and just go on a fucking tangent. And just be like, listen, guys, we need to be thinking about things a little bit differently here, and here's why. And then immediately chats like goes into VanderForge is in Papa Bear mode. Everybody sit back and listen. About to fucking throw down.
Yep.
Yeah, I really like what you said about like specifically the rant about like affiliates and people being pissed off about them getting sub badges.
Where would you like to begin about that one?
Dude, just go for it. Just say what you want to say. Tell everyone out there.
I am blessed. I am the luckiest son of a bitch in Pokemon. I have the most amazing community that accepts me for who I am. When I fuck up, they not only kick me in the ass when I need it, but they pick me right back up. I am shown countless amounts of support, not only from my viewers, and we're not even going to separate out the subscribers in at that point. We're just going to say viewers. From the viewers, from my personal staff, I am blessed from Twitch. Being a Twitch partner is a wonderful thing. It really, really is. It's something that is just, it's humbling. It's something that's humbling, and it makes you think. It makes you think about, excuse me, it makes you think about just like what you've done to get to that point, what you could do to take it even further, and how you could do things to make a difference. Twitch treats me beautifully. In and out, off the scene, on the scene, at TwitchCon. Walking around at TwitchCon, I got treated like royalty. And there's a lot of us partners out there. There really, really is. I got treated like absolute royalty. I was walking on a creative aisle, and I think you ended up hearing this story too. There was at one point, I was walking through the creative aisle at TwitchCon. A Twitch staff member recognizes the fact that I am a partner because, you know, I'm wearing my partner jersey and I've got my partner's badge on. And the first words I walked up to, they walked and said, "Hey, you're a Twitch partner and we love our Twitch partners. So here, take some free stuff." They started handing us Twitch hoodies right then and there. I mean, that's awesome. Just a small taste as to how they reach out and how I feel that we're fortunate when we're in those specific circumstances. I get access to the partners only parties, whether it comes to Discord or Twitch itself. I got to go to my very first partner mixer last year at TwitchCon, where they went above and beyond and over the top for all the partners that came out there. It was a really, really blessed experience. I recognize how lucky I am. I recognize the people that have gotten me there. And I recognize that it is something like this. It takes work. And the reason why that I'm mentioning all these things is that I've recently been hearing some stories and seeing some stuff on Twitter, and this has been all over on Twitter, about partners getting upset or affiliates recently getting sub badges. And when I heard
crazy.
This, I lost my shit. I was dumbfounded at what was happening because, you know, and I will say this, especially in my case, because I'm human and I have those emotions. Some people, they carry that sense of entitlement to them when they have a partner. I was at Lion at TwitchCon last year. There was another partner that shall not be renamed for the sake of me not starting some shit. I was in the partner line to get into TwitchCon. This fucking partner walks up to the TwitchCon staff and says, I want to get in right now. And the TwitchCon staff member politely says to them, hey, the line's right over there for you to step in and wait, because she recognized that he was a partner. And this dude looks at her square in the fucking eyes and said, well, I am a partner and I am above and beyond that. And she was like, sir, I would let you know that the line that they're currently standing in is the partner line. And he tried so hard to not show any of emotion of a little bit of remorse in the situation for the fact that he had just literally diarrheaed all over his fucking face in front of me. Just spray shitted all over the place. And he's like, oh, well, thank you for letting me know. This motherfucker walking up and like saying, oh, I'm a partner and I am above and beyond. Fuck you. What the hell are you to say that to another human being? You know?
Yeah.
But like some people carry that, and some people even carry that in a polite and productive manner. You know, they're very, very proud of what they do. They recognize the position that they're in. And like to an extent, I almost, it's like there's parts of it I agree with a partner being proud of what they've done, of them being the top dog. But man, when you've got interactions with real life people and like that really shows how much of a shit-tastic mentality you have when it comes to like, where you are.
Right.
I mean, like, seriously, to look somebody in the eye and to say, I am above and beyond that. And then for that person to just politely say, well, the partner line is right there for you. And then for him, he held it back, and he did well. He did well to hold it back. But he ended up going in, and I was just like, man. I think at that point I was looking at my friends. I was like, don't ever let me get like that. Like, seriously, help me stay on the ground and just be with one another and be communal and not just be above and beyond, because I recognize how blessed I am. And fast forward to what we're talking about now. People are literally having this, like, they're not separating themselves out from the partners enough. Affiliates aren't separated enough from partners in what we do.
Right.
Bullshit, says I.
Yeah.
We have access to legit access to the top servers. We have front page time. We have exclusive things that are sent to us and made for us whenever we go to events. Last year, we got a very, very nice partners jersey. This year, we're getting a backpack that's being made for us at TwitchCon. When we're walking around, us as partners, we have, when a company looks at at people to network with, they typically tend to gravitate towards people that are partners, people who have the bigger audiences.
Right.
So we already have a bullseye target on us for simply having the name partner to be able to network and to be able to get partnered with different communities. And different with different products out there, right. different sponsors. Mm-hmm. I am sponsored with G Fuel. I am sponsored with T Public. I am sponsored with a website called Shiny Decks. But even in some of those that I've already mentioned, those are just a few that I'm partnered and sponsored by. Some of those companies even reach out and partner and sponsor affiliates. G Fuel being one of them. Shiny Decks being one of them. That reach out to affiliates, and if they feel like it's going to be a good fit, they're going to bring them in no matter what. And kudos to fucking them for recognizing that, bringing somebody that doesn't have the label of partner, but recognizing for them as an individual is what we're talking about. You're recognizing them as a person, bringing them on and sponsoring them. Fucking top dog. It's why I love being a part of G Fuel. One of the many reasons. But people were getting upset about not being separated from as affiliate to partner. And man, that just blows my mind, because I'm one of those people that comes from humble beginnings. I by no means make myself out to be a perfect person. I screw up all the time to this fucking day. I know where I've come from, and I know why I've gotten there, and I know where I'm going and why I'm going there in the fucking first place. And for me to come out and get pissed off because Twitch is creating one of the most brilliant fucking business models to not only support partners, but affiliates at the same time, to literally just give them some inspiration and as a little way of saying thank you. There is thousands of us partners out there, but there are millions of affiliates, literal millions of affiliates across this world. And Twitch is going to do something like create a sub badge to create a little bit more of a different atmosphere so that they can continue to have their own unique touch to their community. Here are some very, very deep thoughts and speculation that I've had over this issue. It's a whole self-entitlement deal. They feel like they're self-entitled to what they have. And to an extent, like I said, some of that is fine. If you feel like you're the top dog and you're proud of what you do, hey, more fucking power to you. B, I've heard conversations of partners, just saying like, what's going to separate us out even further. I'm a partner that has 30 emotes on his roster. 30 fucking emotes on his roster. That takes 2,000 sub points to get in the first place. So that gives you a roundabout number of the sub point goal that I've hit recently. I have 30 emotes on my roster. Affiliates get 3. And here's the kicker. Those 3 emotes fall under the tier system. They get one at $4.99. They get another one at $9.99. They get the third one at $24.99. And on top of that, the cut for the subscriptions per person is still 50-50-50 for affiliate. Now, put a partner into place will put me on the spot. I get 30 emotes at tier 1. I get 31 emotes at tier 2. I get 32 emotes at tier 3. My cut at tier 1 is 50-50. My cut at tier 2 is 60-40. My cut at tier 3 is 70-30. The top percentages being in my favor.
That's badass.
What the fuck do I have to bitch about a sub badge?
Dude, like that's one of the things I don't understand. Like, I follow hundreds of people on Twitch as part of, what we do for the podcast. And, I follow some of the big guys too. And I think what it is where the people came from when they started on Twitch. Most of your people that came to Twitch, like you said, have the humble beginnings. They did the climb from, having 0 viewers in the channel to, people that are even at 50,000 viewers a day. Those aren't the people that are bitching. The people that are bitching are, the ones that are down, in the 1,000, 2,000 that are probably, beyond blessed of what they, get from Twitch. And they're the ones bitching. Like, I don't get it. Like, you should be thankful that Twitch has, progressed so far that, not only are they able to support you and your community and what you do, but they're starting to support the smaller communities and allowing those people to get somewhere. Like, you should be happy that Twitch is growing as a whole and that you get to be part of that. Like, I don't get it. Maybe because, I'm not a Twitch streamer, but like, I don't get how somebody could get upset that they're trying to help the smaller communities out. Like, give them a fucking break, dude. Like, you used to be at the bottom, now you're, doing decent. How are you going to begrudge somebody that's, starting from the bottom, trying to work their way up to where you are, and, they get a little bump along the way that you didn't get? Like, chill the fuck out. Like, it's part of the thing.
I think, what I would assume is those people, those partners that have a problem with it, feel threatened in a way like someone's going to take their spot. I don't get that.
Oh, dude, you going down this road? Let's fucking go.
Hold on. I'm not saying
cuff here, boys.
I'm not saying I agree with that, but I think some people feel threatened by it for some reason, and that's idiotic in my opinion, because that should be a motivation for you to become a better streamer and put more time into your stream. Just become better overall.
About confidence in your content. It is
right.
too many people, far often than not, and you hear this all the time in the background shit-tastic alleys of shit talking on Twitch, of people getting upset and comparing themselves to other streamers and saying, well, this person's they got what they got. Why don't I have that? You know, I work just as hard. It's all being confident about your content. And let me tell you something. There are affiliates out there that work hard, nay, harder than I do in this industry. They go balls to the walls. They invest. They work on their production value. They work on their showmanship, and they are 70 times more professional than I will ever be in this world. And if Twitch wants to take a moment to recognize that by giving them a sub badge and to motivate them a little bit more, fucking bring it on, dude. Like, seriously, it blows my mind that somebody would even compare themselves to, or even think like some people are just saying that, them having a sub badge is going to deter them away from investing as you in a caster. If you have that mentality on your stream and you're afraid of somebody else or one of your viewers investing in somebody else because simply they have a sub badge, they will fucking notice it. They will pick that apart and they will see.
We had some technical difficulties here with the recording software, so it cut off suddenly, but we got it fixed, and now back to the show. Go on with your thought.
No, I was just saying, man. It's like if you're literally feeling threatened, if you are literally feeling threatened by somebody by a sub badge, then you really, really, really need to go back and you need to check yourself, man. You need to check in with your content, because obviously there's at some point where you're not believing enough in your own content and you're not confident enough in what you're doing, and you're too worried about what everybody else is fucking doing around you, and it's causing you to fail. And that is one of the number one downfalls of casters. I've seen it so many times. Is literally casters, they get just so and I did it at one point. I got so frustrated at the turn of Ultra Sun, or when Sun and Moon first came out, because of what other people were happening, what other people were doing versus what I'm doing, and my viewership went to shit. I hit that mentality at one point, and my mod team, bless their heart, they verbally beat the piss out of me. They were, you can't be following that mentality. You got to focus on you. Don't try and copy what somebody else is doing. Don't try and mimic what somebody else is doing, just for the sake of getting success. Be yourself on the fucking stream, dude. Just do what you do best. And that was an ass kicking that I need. And I said, you guys are absolutely right. And sure as shit, within a couple of days later, rocking and rolling in my normal self, it was the saturation of a brand new game getting released. Everything returned to normal, but I stayed on the focus of just focusing on my own content and not worried what other people were getting to. Now, we're not necessarily talking about that content-wise. We're talking about what Twitch is doing for other people. And if people are literally being threatened in their content because Twitch is handing them a sub badge to saying thank you, and then only the 3 emote rosters, and then we have the different splits than they do, if they're feeling threatened by that, they really need to evaluate their content. I say that wholeheartedly. They need to check in what they're doing and find out their mentality and approach things differently, because that's a shit mentality to have.
Yeah, I don't know where I cut out at, but what I was saying is, like, if you're to that point to where you feel threatened and you're worried about an affiliate catching up to you, that should be a drive for you to, make what you do better. Like, if you're just kind of cruising by right now, doing the same old thing you've always done, if you feel like you're getting threatened by an affiliate, like, you should be doing everything in your power to make your content better, get into your community more, be more, with your community. I don't know, I can't think of the word to use right now, but blend into your community and push your content even higher than what it is. It should be a driving force. You shouldn't immediately get on Twitter and be like, this is bullshit because they're not getting, they're getting shit that I never got and blah, 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 blah. Like, use that to push you and make you better. Like,
well, not only that, but the sub badges for affiliates, that spurs the quote unquote Twitch economy, in the sense of, like, there's artists that are going to get paid for all these sub badges that are going to be created for all these people.
Exactly.
And that's just more people that are going to check out like art, check out more emotes. It just brings more people along for everybody. It's just best for everyone other than those that feel threatened because they don't have good content to put out in the first place. So that's my opinion.
What really just I mentioned this before, and I know that you heard this before. What really made me stop and think about myself and my mentality, it was another checking moment. There's a couple streams that I was in where some of the affiliates were like flat out, this was just announced and everybody was hyped and the affiliates were so excited, as they should be, to be able to have this magnanimous thing happen to them. But then I started hearing affiliates saying, I really, really, really love what Twitch is doing. And I really, really hope that Twitch continues I hope they do some things here in the near future to continue to separate them from us because they work hard. My heart sank to the bottom of the fucking ocean when I heard that. Yeah, Where the fuck are we as partners in our mentality when an affiliate comes out and says, I hope Twitch gives them more? That's like, that literally, like, I couldn't believe what I was hearing from this affiliate and other affiliates saying the same thing. And not only when they were saying that live on their broadcast, but see the reaction of people in the chat agreeing with the statement that Twitch should do more for the partners. Where's our fucking mentality? What are we doing that's causing our affiliates to think like that? I mean, ultimately, yes. Yeah. At the end of the day, whatever way you slice it, we are a product and we are in competition with each other. I mean, that's just what it comes down to. When you make a living off of this platform, we are still at competition with each other, and you still want to put as much effort as you can to make the best product, the best brand that you can as far as Twitch goes, to be able to have people support you and, to feel like that you're worth supporting at that point in time. But for an affiliate to do that, man, like seriously, that's why I'm so strong about community. That's why I'm so strong about bringing people together. Yes, we're in competition, but you know what? At the end of the day, we're still humans and we're still fucking friends, and we can still support one another as a whole. We can still be there for one another. We can still help each other grow. We can still network together, which is something that a lot of people throw out the window too in a lot of different aspects. They carry mentalities that are literally like, oh, I'm going to network, but then they carry the shit mentality that says completely opposite. They're like, you don't want to network. You what you want to do is anything but networking at that point in time. I have had another off topic here for you that's in the networking. I have had friend streamers right now that are partners that have walked into Twitch streams to simply say hi, to get to know people in different directories because they wanted to reach out and do simple things. And as soon as that partner hit the chat, that person accused them immediately of self-advertising, having a chat mark, and fucking ban them on the spot.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I don't get that.
And this just ain't a one-time incident. This got the attention of Bacon Donut, who's one of the biggest fucking people that's so passionate about the field that we're on. This got Bacon Donut's attention to where he was saying some very, very strong, similar things as I was. And he's a lot smarter in this industry than I am. I'll tell you that right now. Right. This got his attention, and he had something to say about that, about people coming in just because they had a check mark. And I was actually, I had heard about that, and but not at that point in time. I had went into Bacon Donuts channel just to hang out, and one of the first things that he says to me was, he's like, hey, I see that you're a streamer. I see that check mark is there. That's awesome. Tell me about your stuff. I would have never known that you were a streamer had you not had that check mark there next to you. And that was just so incredibly humbling, because I was just like, this man is about networking and properly networking. Right. He wants to get to know people. And some people out there just carry these mentalities where they're feeling, and I guess how that ties in the current conversation is that where they feel threatened. They feel threatened by their content and what they're doing and what people have versus what they don't have. And I was like, there's this big, huge mentality where other people are focusing on other people. And I just want to look at people and calmly tell them to say, dude, just focus on your content. I succeed because I exercise who I am as an individual. This is me on and off the stream. I'm loud, I'm rambunctious, I'm zany, I'm boisterous, I'm crazy. I say the weirdest shit at the weirdest times. But I don't base myself off of somebody else. I'm inspired by other people. I most definitely am. And there's nothing wrong with being inspired by other people to help better yourself as a caster. But I'm still who I am to the core. Every single cast that I go live, I don't focus on anybody else's content. I literally just focus on the VanderForge community.
Yeah, like I think that's one of the reasons like I love this podcast so much is because, you know, we get to not only promote, you know, multiple different streamers, but, you know, we get to build relationships with, good grief, relationships with them. And, you know, it's not even from a networking standpoint. Like, yeah, we're networking with all these people, but like networking aside, like I love getting to be able to sit down and have a conversation with you, somebody that I would probably never would have got to have a conversation with before, you know, talking back and forth one-on-one. And, you know, that's what, you know, the Twitch community is all about. Like, you know, it's meeting people, getting to know people, becoming friends, and just being able to hang out. Like, you shouldn't look down on somebody just because they come in and want to hang out with you. Like, that goes back to the whole point of people being scared of, you know, having part of their community leave and go watch somebody else. Like, your community is there to watch you. Even if somebody else pops into your community, you know, starts chatting up, having a conversation, that doesn't mean they're going to leave you and just say, goodbye, fucker, and, you know, go hang out with that person. Like, if they do, that's because your content sucks and you need to reevaluate what you're doing. But, that's what I love about this podcast. And, you know, it's got, like, I feel like that's kind of, you know, we're on the same page as far as, you know, making acquaintances, making friends, you know, through this whole internet community. Because, you know, this allows me and Ascend to meet people that, you know, I don't know if you still live in Wisconsin, but you're from Wisconsin. I'm in Oklahoma. I'm in the, you know, the Midwest, the southern Midwest. I've never been to Wisconsin. I probably never will be. You know, you live in Wisconsin or Montana?
Wisconsin.
We Wisconsin. Yep.
Okay, yeah, I felt like I was about to fuck up for about 5 minutes, but you know,
we got good beer here, man. Local breweries, man. Freaking killer.
I'm about to make a drive up there, dude. But yeah, like I'll probably never go up there just because it's on the opposite side of the country, and you know, there's probably people out there that I would, you know, love to hang out with, and we'd all get along, and you know, I get to hang out with those people. And, you know, you guys as Twitch streamers get to hang out with people from, you know, not only all over this nation, but all over the world. And that's fucking badass. And I wish people would pay attention to that more than, oh, they get sub badges? That's fucked up. Like, come on.
Yeah.
Well, you know, it all goes back to, like I said, I do acknowledge that this is a competitive industry, you know, and I said in these points, I try to remain as objective because, you know, I'm no bacon donut. I don't have the knowledge that he does. I don't have the background that he does. I come from humble beginnings. I started a Pokemon channel. I started screaming in front of a camera and people just started watching. And you know, what I'm literally just telling people is what I've lived out, the experience that I've had as a very, very blessed and fortunate and lucky as hell Twitch caster to be able to do this full time without having to be in the retail world anymore. Because let me tell you something, going from 17 years of restaurant management and the retail world and playing video games, that's another thing that blows my mind. Why are people Twitching? Because we play fucking video games for a living. I play Pokemon for a living, and we're bitching about a sub badge.
Yeah, man.
Dude, I feel you.
I actually wanted to segue into that so we make sure and promote the channel a little bit here other than just going over the affiliate and stuff. But so you're a Pokemon streamer, and every stream you've done is or that I've seen since I've watched you is Pokemon. Now is that something you plan to always continue on? I mean, there's always Pokemon games coming out, so it's not like it'll ever.
Absolutely. One of the things that I really, really treasured with my old man before he passed away is the late nights that we would stay up together, and I would get in trouble by my mom because me and my dad were up at 3 o'clock in the morning playing fucking Pokemon Gold and Silver and Red and Blue.
That's fucking awesome.
I'd get in trouble from my mom all the time because, like, I had my own. We had this really, really nice house, and I had my own, like, essentially, like, it was a family room kind of area, but the whole space was my living room. I had a couch, entertainment center, and we would play, like, those games on my Super Game Boy Advance on the Super Nintendo together. And it's always been one of them franchises that I fell in love with. I show you guys my age. To show you guys my age, I found out about Pokemon through Nintendo Power. Years ago when it was announced. I was a subscriber to Nintendo Power while the magazine was still around, and I found out by reading the articles on it, and I was just like, oh my gosh, I love the RPG world, I love fantasy. Now I get to have 6 fucking dudes that I get to, like, customize and run around and fucking throw down with. Let's go. And so I attached onto it like 10%. And, like, when I started this, I was going to remain a Pokemon caster, and it is always and has and will be, no matter what I do, where direction I take myself personally, to remain Pokemon content for the rest of my career.
Yeah, I mean,
that's fucking awesome.
I grew up playing Pokemon as well. Like, I love the shit out of Pokemon. Now, you said you love, like, RPG games. Are you excited for the, like, Pokemon RPG that's kind of been announced and they're working on? Like, is that something you plan to?
Well, I mean, as far as, like, keeping up to date with content goes, the Let's Go Pokemon Pikachu and the Let's Go Eevee, we will be purchasing that. We will be playing that on the channel. There hasn't been enough information released as to how deep it's going to go or how much content for us content creators it's literally going to keep us sustained. So honestly, where I'm sitting right now, I know I'm going to go and I'm going to enjoy it, because literally they're saying that this is essentially the precursor to what Generation 8 is going to look like. They literally, in their announcements, separated the fact that this is not what the main core series is going to look like. They're doing this to bring in a wide variety. By the way, I think it's fucking brilliant what they're doing. They're literally bringing in a wide variety audience to come together and play Pokemon and to be passionate about it. It's going to be a more simplistic version of the video game, but the visuals are stunning. And if they're telling me that this is a precursor to show what they're going to do for the Pokemon franchise, turn into Generation 8 when the core series hits and I can get back into some serious hardcore battling, they can take all the fucking time in the world, because I'm going to be stoked when that hits the shelves.
Yeah.
Right.
And so I feel in my position as I guess you can call myself a half-ass shiny hunter, because I'm not like prestigious or anybody else. I shiny hunt in my own ways. I'm a battle caster by trade. We do viewers battle spot. We do multi-viewer battles. We do draft leagues on the channel. And the main part of my content is filthy casual battling. People call me the troll under the bridge of battle spot, because I'm a prick when it comes to kicking the crap out of an 8-year-old on an online video game. So they call me the troll under the bridge of battle spot because I act like a complete jerk. Now, obviously, there's moments where I screw up and I'm not the perfect battle. I never will be, but I just kind of take it and I kind of own it. And I see myself enjoying the new franchise when it comes out. I see myself getting involved in it to the T. Do I see myself stopping and going back to Ultra Sun and Moon battle stuff and integrating still Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee stuff at the same time with, like, a dual screen layout to lead us into Generation 8? Absolutely. I'm not sure, just because of the information that we don't have yet, of how much content sustainability is going to be there for us as content creators in the Pokemon field. I see a lot of us going back for those of us that are battlecasters in particular, going back to Ultra Sun and Moon and using that. But I'm still one of those people that enjoys battling content, and battling content does not die with me. And I always find ways to reinvigorate it, reinvent it, and to bring it back to the channel. So we will be playing that on the channel, but I do see myself going back to Ultra Sun and Moon with Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee side by side, going into the Core 8 series, which I am so excited for. So excited.
Yeah, I mean, I think what they're gearing up for with Generation 8, and I've dreamed of this since I was a little kid with Pokemon.
All right, before we go too much further, you're going to have to enlighten people like me. I have no idea what Generation 8 is.
It's basically the next generation of Pokemon is what he's getting at. Like the next generation of
new
Pokemon.
characters.
When they introduce a new generation, they typically introduce a whole new set of Pokemon to add to, like, the 700 plus that already exist.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I feel you.
Okay, so what I think they're going to do with the next generation is, and I hope they're gearing up for this, is an MMORPG.
Everybody's been talking about that, and man, that would be sweet. That would be sweet.
Yeah, like ever since I was a little kid, like playing it on Game Boy, I was always like, man, this would be so cool if you saw other players just running around and you could just walk up to them and battle them and just have this huge community of like just Pokemon trainers in this game. And I really hope that's what they're gearing for at least one of their outlets of what they're planning for Generation 8. I mean, they can make the normal RPG games, like, Blue, Red, and Gold, Silver, and all that. But I really hope they take the route on that. Because at this point, how many islands are there? Like, Johto, Kanto, like how many? Or is there seven?
There are seven. I guess you could say regions, as we call them. There are 7 regions in the Pokemon universe. Most recent one being obviously the Alola region, the one that was based off of like the whole Hawaii theme to it, and that there's always been talk of that too, like having a centralized game. Some people in the Pokemon directly actually think that might be the sign of the death of Pokemon, is if we're going back and just going into old generations and an MMO style. I don't necessarily agree with that statement. I think that would be like, even if they decided to put main series elements into it, I think that would be not so much as like the death of it, but almost as like an off branch, so to speak, as a game that you could go to for like centralized content for all generations being brought together. Because let's face it, Pokemon is not stopping making games anytime soon. And just because they make an MMO does not signal the death of Pokemon, and does not mean they will not continue to make games after that.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, like, just having those 7 regions and you being able to, fly in between them, level up your character, level up your Pokemon and everything. It's just already a huge world, like possibility of a huge world that you can be a part of. I don't know. I think it would be a great thing for Pokemon. It would bring me back to Pokemon, even though every once in a while I get this itch, probably like once a year, where I just, get my Game Boy out.
You get nostalgic and you sit down on your couch. You're just on your Game Boy. Hell yeah, dude. Hell yeah.
And then I just go through it. Obviously, I'm like in the older style. I don't actually even know like the past 5 generations of Pokemon. I've always been a Blue, Red, and Gold, Silver. Gold, Silver is probably my favorite. So obviously I like the Soul Silver, the new versions of those. But that's probably my favorite, generation.
Man, that's cool.
But yeah. So what we're gonna do is we've already gone past an hour at this point, so it does.
Sorry, I talked my head off sometimes.
Oh, you're good, dude. You're good.
It's all good. Dude.
So we always end our show with just a random question that has to do with the guest. And our question today is pretty damn simple. Well, it might not be pretty simple, but what is your favorite Pokemon?
Emboar. I am all about the fire pig. That is the main mascot of the channel. It is something that I used when I first started really getting seriously competitive in the battling scene. When X and Y was released, people were having issues with Mega Kangaskhan because she's a big fat beefy bitch and she hit like a truck. So I slapped a choice scarf on that bad boy, and every single Kangaskhan on Battle Spot was brought to the dumpster fire where it belonged, and thus I fell in love with a pig.
There it is. All right. For me personally, I mean, obviously, like I like the older generations. My top one is probably Alakazam. That's
right
just
on,
one
top choice, pro choice.
Yeah, that's one that I always have in my 6, no matter how many times I play the game. That's always one I gotta get. So
I use him on one of my cores. I use his Mega Evolution. It's like a truck.
Hell yeah. What about you, Nathan?
For me, probably the only time I played Pokemon was back in the original, like Blue, Green, Red, and then I played during like the Fire Red and that series. So I've only played with like the original Pokemon. Like I was watching your stream and I saw all these other Pokemon. I was like, how many do they fucking have now? Like I was lost. But so if I go back to my roots, my favorite, just because of the badassery of it, was probably Machamp or like Cubone. Not only do they look badass, but I remember Machamp was, one of the top fighters back in the day. So he'll probably always be my favorite.
Right on, dude. Right on.
Well, there it is.
So
awesome. So that is it, Vander. I had a lot of fun. I hope you did as well.
I do. Thank you guys so incredibly much for having me. This was an absolute blast, and I'm very, very humbled and privileged to be here, guys. This was a cool thing to do. It's definitely a new world for me, but I had a lot of fun.
Awesome.
We appreciate you coming,
man.
man.
We appreciate you. Now, if people want to reach out to you or check out your stuff, what's some social media they can get you out, or your Twitch channel?
www.vanderforge.com will take you directly to my Twitch page. I had a friend of mine actually work that out for me. Also, if you want to follow me on Twitter, just look up VanderForge on Twitter and it takes you right there.
All right.
So there you go.
Perfect. All righty, guys. Well, other than that, any last thoughts?
Go play some Pokemon, dude.
Don't bitch about playing video games when it comes to fucking Twitch.
All right.
That
Fucking
too.
play video games. Have fun.
All right, guys. We will see you guys next week.
Goodbye.
Hey, you. Yes, you. Thank you so much for listening to the episode. I hope you enjoyed it, and even if you didn't, we would love to hear your feedback, which can be sent to coldonepodcast@gmail.com or leave us a review on iTunes. It helps us gauge how we can make this podcast better for your enjoyment. If you would like to contact us, you can do that through our email or follow us on social media, which is @coldonepodcast for Twitter and Facebook. We are now on Spotify as well as most podcast apps in existence, but if you prefer to listen to it online, head on over to our website, actionsperminute.net, for the latest episodes, a link to the APM Network Discord, or to check out any of our APM sponsored streamers. And lastly, if you like what we do, tell your friends and spread the good word. Thank you again, and remember, don't drink and drive.